Something came to mind tonight, and it's about what life was like for me on the autism spectrum and some of the challenges that I've overcome over the years. A lot of you that follow me may not know that I was diagnosed as on the autism spectrum when I was young. I have shared a few posts about it, here and there. I think it may have been a while since I've shared anything, but some one of my main challenges was speaking and expressing my feelings. Apart from other challenges that I had, but my main one was speaking. Um, Apart from starting to speak late, I could not express my feelings. Growing up, when I was angry, when I was sad, I could not express them. I honestly didn't really know what feelings were, but I felt trapped a lot. I felt trapped like within myself, like whenever something would happen at school, like an incident, either kids were picking on me or they started hitting me or pushing me to the ground, and I felt trapped, like I couldn't express myself. I would fight. I would fight back. I was a badass when it came to that, but like actually speaking, like standing up for myself verbally or expressing my emotions, I could not do that. And a lot of people just assumed over the years that I didn't have feelings, um, that I was just crazy or that I was retarded or that I was just not intelligent. But I did have feelings. I always had feelings, had a lot of feelings, just couldn't express them. And I remember around high school. High school was when I started to be more aware of myself, and I started realizing how different I was from my peers. I could never really connect with my peers. I never made friends. I couldn't really socialize to begin with to make friends, but I could not express my feelings, and I started to be able to identify that. So after some time, like school got really challenging for me academically because there was just so much that was on my mind. Like I always felt alienated on a conscious level. And it got to the point where I was failing all of my classes, like in the 11th grade, and I ended up dropping out. And afterwards, I did get my GED. It took a couple of weeks, but I got my GED after that. And see, the thing was that even though I was on this spectrum, I was able to take care of myself. But that's another story, of why I had learned a long time ago how to take care of myself. I was already working since I was like 13 or 14. So when it came to get legal work, I was able to do that. I was able to work full time. I was able to get my own apartment and support myself independently. And when I was, living by myself, one of the things that I started to do is I started to smoke weed. And I only ever smoked by myself. And every night I would smoke weed, and for about a year. And what weed allowed me to do is weed allowed me to dig within my own psyche, within my own subconscious. And over time, I was able to see all of the blockages that were preventing me from expressing my feelings and from being able to socialize more normally. And over time, what weed allowed me to do is it allowed me to learn little by little how to overcome them. And before I knew it, when I was starting to date, I was able to express myself. I was able to tell my partner my feelings, when I was angry, when I was frustrated, when I was sad. And I still had a very bad stutter problem. Like, I was able to speak by then. I was able to have conversations, but my stutter was so bad. And all of my bosses back then, when I had jobs, they mentioned this all the time, and they brought it up, and the customers would bring it up. Like, why do you stutter so much? Like, and a lot of people would laugh, of course, because, ignorance. I've learned to forgive ignorance. That's another story, but anyway, so my speech was still iffy. I had a stutter problem. I was able to express myself at least. even if I had to stutter 30 times before being able to get it out. But and make eye contact. That was something else that I didn't really learn to do until I was in my low 20s. And my sister actually made a comment about that. We were having a conversation, and this was after my mother died, and I think I was 25 years old, 24 or 25. And after the funeral, we were all talking, my siblings and I, and she looked at me and she was like, Sean, 5 years ago, we would have never been able to have a conversation. And she was so proud. She was so proud, and she was so happy that I was able to look her in the eyes and tell her what her eye color was, because I never looked her in the eyes before. And she was so proud, and she started crying. And I didn't understand it back then, because I was aware of my differences, and I was aware of my challenges, but I was not aware of the impact of like how it would look to my sister, or how it might look on the outside. For me, it was not that big of a deal. It was just like, I have to learn these things. I kept telling myself, I have to learn these things. I have to make sure that I'm able to be independent. I have to take care of myself. And I knew that I had to learn those things because I didn't have the kind of family that I could fall back on. So I had to learn to be better. And I've always told myself that. But I digress. What I'm trying to say in this very long message is that you never really know what someone's journey was. If you're just meeting somebody, or if you come across somebody and they come across a little bit differently, or you're not really sure kind of person they are, or maybe you're building a judgment based off of a behavior or a style of communication that you see or hear, you never really know. You never know what that person's journey was to get to where they are. You never know what they're going through right now. You never know. And for me, finally being able to express myself and finally being able to come on social media and even record this video, it's such a huge deal. The only method of expression I had growing up was singing. I couldn't talk, but I could sing. At school, I didn't talk, but I sang. In chorus class, I didn't talk, but I sang. Even at work, my coworkers would mention all the time, you don't really talk, Sean, but you sure sing a lot. So, there were a lot of cute moments about that. But that was my way of expression, because I couldn't express myself in other ways. And I feel very proud to be able to sing and share that with you guys, even if you feel like I'm not a good singer. And I know a lot of people say that I'm not a good singer, and that's okay. I don't try to pretend like I am this amazing singer or even a good singer. I do what my heart tells me to do in the moment, and I share it with you guys because that is just one way of expression that I am very proud of. But again, I digress, and I know I keep doing that. You never really know what's going on with somebody. You never know their journey. So don't assume. Don't assume. And this is something that I always say. Don't assume that you know, because if you're assuming, or if you think you know, or you think you might know, or you might have an idea, it means you don't know. And it's up to you to decide how much do you want to find out. I feel like we should always have more information to make informed judgment calls, because you never really know. The person that might seem a little crazy, or they might seem non-expressive, or like they have no feelings, or maybe they sound a little bit bitter, or you just never really know what they went through, or what they've been going through, or what they're going through in the moment. You just never know. So I guess that's my message, even though it's a very, very long way to say that. Because I do wish that a lot of people were more compassionate with me, but that's okay. That's in the past, and I've learned to forgive ignorance. I think I said that earlier in the video. I've learned to forgive ignorance. And there are a lot of ways that I'm still ignorant. There are still a lot of things that I'm learning. There are still things that I'm discovering about myself, and that may not ever stop for as long as I'm alive. One of the things that I read and I can't remember the name of the book, was that as long as you are alive, you are always in discovery mode. You never stop learning. And I always feel like there's something else to learn. So I'm always going to try to keep understanding people. And that's the reason why I'm able to forgive ignorance. It's because I know that it's not really, as kids, it's not really their fault. As adults, it is a different story, but at the same time, there's still a lot going on the back end that may be blocking them, maybe blocking their awareness. And I don't know. So I just felt like expressing this tonight. I don't know if there's really anything important to take away from this video, but if there is, then leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Share your ideas, if anything, or just you can just keep scrolling by. It's up to you. I don't take offense. But anyways, good night, and I hope you guys have a restful evening.